possible. People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first, and Landmark of Taylorville. You always do better at Landmark. On my phone line today, I have Illinois State Treasurer Mike Frerichs. Happy to be here with you. Mr. Frerichs, how are you today?
Tim, good morning. I'm excited to be with you, if not a little bit tired. But that has nothing to do with you.
Nothing to do with us in the studio, but we're always thinking about Mr. Mike Frerichs and those late nights with the two brand new twins over there. Let's get things started. How are the twins, Mr. Frerichs? Everyone wants to know.
They are home, they're growing, they are thriving, and they are exercising their lungs often. Especially at nighttime. My daughter, I'm realizing every day how sweet she was, how easy she was to raise. Because we didn't have this. People told about this thing called the witching hour, where kids every night just scream sort of uncontrollably after you fed them, after you've changed them. And it is a real thing with my sons. They are exciting, but they can be exhausting. They're definitely wonderful, but they are also a handful.
Oh, gosh. Well, we're glad you're here with us today. You've seen both sides of the spectrum with an easy baby, and you got a couple of tough babies right now. But all these babies are they're in good hands because they are they're under some college and retirement savings programs, and these deadlines are coming up. Mike Frerichs, did you like that segue right there? Can we talk about some college and retirement savings programs here?
Well, I'll start with retirement.
Awesome.
We want to make sure our kids have a good future, but we also want to make sure that we're able to have a retirement with dignity, that we're able to enjoy our golden years. And so in Illinois, we set up a program called Secure Choice, helping more people do something everyone knows they need to do, help them save their own money for retirement. Studies have shown that if an employee has a workplace retirement savings option, they are 15 times more likely to save for retirement. So we've been rolling out Secure Choice over the last couple of years, and now it's that final wave. Employers with more than 5 employees have till the end of the month to either enroll their employees in a qualified retirement plan, like a pension or a 401k, or enroll them in Illinois Secure Choice. And what this is basically just automatic payroll deduction for employees' salaries, paychecks, that goes right into their own individually managed Roth IRA. Everyone knows they need to save for retirement. Too few people are doing it, and we're now helping over 130,000 people in the state save for their retirement that weren't doing it before, and with more to come.
Okay, very awesome right there. Now, I apologize if this is a bad question here, but this is what we do here. I got to ask these questions. Yep. Is this like a 401k?
So it's like a 401k, but it's basically an IRA.
Okay.
And anyone can go out there and set up their own IRA if their earnings are under a certain level.
Okay.
But too few people do it. They put it off. They know they should. They know they need to. But they think right now, the holidays are coming up, and I want to make sure my kids have a good Christmas. Yeah. And the New Year comes up, and they plan to set up a retirement savings account, an IRA. But then they've got credit card bills to pay down, and then there's a spring break coming up, and hey, I'd like to take the family on a nice trip. Then you need 4 new tires for your car, and that's a big expense. People put it off and put it off. They find themselves in their 50s or 60s with nothing saved for their retirement. And that is bad for them because Social Security alone will not be enough to keep them at their standard of living. But it's also bad for their family, and it's bad for our state because their spending patterns drop off considerably at retirement. And that's bad for our economy. So we think the answer is help people do something they know they need to do. When it's automatically deducted from their paychecks and they don't have to do anything, they don't have to think about it, most people save for their retirement.
It makes a ton of sense right there. And, taking it out of the equation of, having to do it every month, making that an auto pay situation, those funds are probably going to stack up, and there's going to be a nice sum waiting for you after those years of working. That's really awesome. That's a really good opportunity for retirement, people looking for retirement. What is the date for these deadlines here with employers over 5 employees?
So November 1st, if employers out there have been doing business in Illinois for longer than 2 years, they don't offer a 401k or a pension, then they have to offer Secure Choice to their employees. Now, employees can opt out. If someone says, I just can't afford to save for my retirement right now, they can opt out, but they have to be automatically enrolled because we find as most people, just once they get enrolled, they know they need to do this. They don't take that extra effort to opt out. But if you make it extra effort to opt in, then a lot of people just don't get around to it and they put it off. And that's why we have a retirement crisis in this country. And in Illinois, we're trying to do something about that.
Right. The retirement crisis, I hear you say that. And is that, you kind of already mentioned, where spending for people that are retired goes way down because they don't have the funds to pay for it, and that's just not good for the economy?
Yeah, it's not good for the economy, but it's not good for families as well. It's something like about 50% of workers have less than $5,000 saved for retirement.
Yeah.
Less than $5,000 for retirement.
Right.
I don't know if they think that Social Security is going to support them, or they just let things get away from them. But you can't have a retirement with dignity. You can't really enjoy your golden years if those are your savings.
Right.
And people have excuses. They make excuses, but what we found is when they're automatically enrolled, the vast majority of people stay enrolled. When they make monthly or contributions every 2 weeks, even if they're small amounts, they slowly build over time. And when they start early, they have the power of compounding interest to grow that amount. So this program is not going to make multimillionaires out of people, but it will give them a little bit more of a nest egg that will allow them to have a little more comfort and breathe a little easier when they finally retire.
Yeah, without a doubt, getting that extra breathing room there is probably going to be beneficial for just so many people looking to retire. You don't want to have to be in a situation where you're not in your working years anymore and your funds are running out. So this is the way to do it. What about college? You got to go. You have anything more there for Mr. Fricks?
Well, I was going to say, and it's also good for us because if people continue to work into their late 60s, their 70s, or maybe into their 80s, if those people can't afford to leave the workforce, they're not opening up jobs for younger workers. And this is about making sure people can enjoy their retirement, that they continue to have a similar standard of living, and that we're creating opportunities for young people into the workforce and provide for themselves and their families.
I had not drawn that connection yet to the younger workforce being impacted.
Yeah, like I said, what difference does it make to me? I've got a ways to go. Well, if people who are currently in those management positions, if people currently in those jobs you want don't retire, it makes it harder for you to get a job.
Right.
But speaking of, preparing for saving for themselves and their families, where kids are back to school now, and it's important that kids are learning. But we also know that school education shouldn't end at senior year of high school.
Right.
Not every kid has to go to a four-year university, but increasingly, in order to get a good paying job, students have to have some sort of education, accreditation, or certification post-high school. So they can go to a four-year university, they can go to community college, they can enroll at a technical school or vocational program, or maybe become an apprentice for a union position. If they go to this, we know that their lifetime earning potential increases dramatically, and that's why we're encouraging families to start saving in a college savings program. Studies show that if a young person knows they have a college savings account in their name, they are 3 times more likely to attend college. And it's not the amount of money you have, but it's the message you send. When you tell a young person that I open up a college savings account for you, what they hear is, you're smart. You are college material. I believe in you. And that kind of message just makes kids work harder and do better in high school. And that gives them so many more options.
I love this college savings program. I just graduated college and it's so relevant to me. I understand how so many people try to work their way through college, and it does, like you said, it does not matter how much money is in this account. I just know so many people where that's not even a factor for them having a college savings account. They would probably laugh at that. But the numbers don't lie here. You just you find more success, you find more dedication to your craft when there's been that investment in you. And have people been taking to this? What's the numbers look like in terms of people starting these college savings programs?
They have. I came into office, we had 385,000 accounts. We are now at over 850,000 accounts, more than doubled the number of accounts. Wow. There was about $7 billion saved in those accounts when I took office. We're now over $17 billion. And this is important because it's important to get kids into education, but also we know so many kids are graduating with a mountain of debt. And that limits their options after college. And so if we can help parents save in advance, if we can help them invest and make more money, that's less debt students are graduating with. Because I've talked to too many young people who said, I've got so much college debt, but I can't afford to buy a house. I can't afford to buy a new car. I can't afford to start a family right now. And without those major life purchases, it's a problem for our economy. It depresses our housing market. It depresses auto sales. And families are just something people ought to have a right to if they want them. They shouldn't be stopped from a family because of fears of bankruptcy.
Sure.
So there are a lot of benefits from doing this. As we all know, Benjamin Franklin said, a penny saved is a penny earned. We want to help more families earn more pennies, grow those pennies into dollars and hundreds and thousands of dollars.
Yeah, I love it. It's just going to make things a little bit more easy for everyone going down the line of education, because promoting education is such a great thing to do now more than ever. Getting your education, no matter 4-year vocational school, like you said, apprenticeship, anything will work here for a college savings fund. Mr. Frericks, we're going to take our short little break right here, but when we come back, I'd love to talk more. We can talk more programs. You've been elected the president of the National Association of State Treasurers. We're going to talk all about that. Congratulations to you on that one. And we'll be right back here on the WTIM Morning Show. I'm sitting down with Illinois State Treasurer Mike Frericks right now. My name is Tim Zalabak, your host. We'll be right back here on the WTIM Morning Show.
Your information station, WTIM.
Here's another lifestyle medicine message from Dr. Pavi Gill at Springfield Clinic, Taylorville.
We understand everyone's journey is different. That's why we approach bariatric weight loss with comprehensive and compassionate care. We offer surgical and non-surgical solutions, and we are here to help you find the right option.
Book your lifestyle medicine appointment with Dr. Gill by calling Springfield Clinic, Taylorville, and improve your quality of life. The cold winds of winter will be here before we know it. With it comes wind chills, snow, and weather-related injuries. Now's the time to check out the fun and socialization you can have at Taylorville Estates Assisted Living. Have your own private apartment and enjoy 3 home-cooked meals a day. Try them for the winter, and if you don't like it, go home. Visit Administrator Tony Clark at 824-2222. That's 824-2222. Taylorville Estates Assisted Living, encouraging independence, enriching lives.
Hi, this is Congresswoman Mary Miller. It's my privilege to advocate for my fellow farmers on the House Agriculture Committee. As your servant representative, I want your thoughts and feedback on the upcoming Farm Bill. The first bill I introduced in Congress bans China and our adversaries from purchasing U.S. farmland. I also introduced legislation to prevent Biden EPA policies from imposing burdensome regulations on farmers. I also voted to support crop insurance and promote trade policies that benefit farmers. Please visit my website, marymiller.house.gov, or call the office of Congresswoman Mary Miller in Mahomet, Illinois, to share your thoughts on ag policy with me. While you're there, remember to sign up for my weekly newsletter to stay informed on important votes and hearings in Washington. Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
If you're looking for a local, full or part-time job in Central Illinois, there's an easy place to go to find current job openings. It's IllinoisJobPost.com. That's IllinoisJobPost.com. You'll find jobs available near you. And the best part is that it's free for candidates to access 24/7. If you want a local job, when you don't have to spend a lot of money on gas to get to, then you want access to IllinoisJobPost.com to check out current local job openings. That web address again is IllinoisJobPost.com. Another service from your friends at the Miller Media Group.
CNB Bank and Trust has been helping open doors for Central Illinois farmers since 1854. Find out why they're among Illinois' top ag lenders by clicking their icon at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com. Member FDIC.
Hi, I'm Bob Reddings of the Bob Reddings family of dealerships. See our huge inventory of about 2,000 vehicles by clicking on our ad at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
Your information station, WTIM.
Welcome back to the WTIM Morning Show, brought to you by People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first, and Landmark of Taylorville, where you always do better at Landmark. I'm your host, Tim Zalabak. We're sitting down with Illinois State Treasurer Mike Frericks right now. It's been a great conversation so far, and I would just like to start off this the second half here, Mr. Frericks, with congratulating you on being elected the president of the National Association of State Treasurers. Tell me about this.
Tim, thanks very much. This is obviously an association of all the state treasurers in the country. We get together to share ideas, to exchange information, to help us all do our jobs better, but also to be a collective voice lobbying Washington, D.C. on issues affecting state treasurers, like college savings, like things people with disabilities or unclaimed property, things that most of us have in common.
Yeah.
And so it is an honor to be nominated and chosen to lead that bipartisan organization. I'm very much looking forward to what we're going to start doing in January.
Wow. Okay, awesome. So, I mean, do you got some plans? What's your focus look like in this position?
So I think this is a real opportunity to lobby Congress to make some changes to improve our college savings programs, to increase options there for families. I've just talked to a lot of families who make excuses for why they're not saving. They're saving, and so we want to make changes to make it easier for people to use that money for a variety of post-secondary education expenses. And if they have money left over, make it easier for them to use that money for their retirement, taking away some of those objections people have.
Yeah.
But the other thing that we're really going to work on is unclaimed property. We know there's a lot of money sitting out there that belongs to individuals in our state and around the country that's not getting into their hands. And one of those things are savings bonds. I don't know, Tim, if you as a kid for a birthday or a baptism or confirmation had an aunt or an uncle who gave you a savings bond.
Yep.
But I've talked to numerous people who received them and have since lost them and don't know where to find them and don't know how to get their money. The federal government has that information, and we'd like them to turn it over to state unclaimed property departments so that something we're already doing, we can do better and return more money to people.
That sounds really awesome right there. You got a great plan ahead of you right here. And you mentioned a whole lot of things right there, college savings and ABLE and these savings bonds made me laugh right there. Because yes, 6, 7 years old and you get this thing that looks like a check, but you can't use it for how long? It doesn't seem great. The government has all that information. That's something that I did not know.
They do. So they sold these bonds, but I'm beginning to think that the government sold them, 18-year, 20-year bonds with the idea that after 18, 20 years, they'd be lost and they'd never cash them in. But that's not right. If your grandmother, if your aunt or uncle bought you a savings bond, they did it not to help the federal government balance their books, but they bought it because they wanted to give you something. Give something to mature, like maybe around the time you got to college or the time you graduated from college and you were setting out, you had money. And too often, families have misplaced those bonds as they've moved houses or you moved off to college and moved back. And so we think there's an answer out there. We already have a mechanism in place to help return unclaimed property from businesses, from banks, from financial institutions. And we think we can do that with uncashed savings bonds from the federal government as well.
Totally. Yeah. Where can people go if they want to see if they have any outstanding savings bonds or unclaimed property? Or what's that website? What's that phone number?
Well, that's the problem. If they're going to look for savings bonds, the federal government doesn't have a website set up to help you find and return your money. It's something we're going to lobby this year on behalf of the National Association of State Treasurers. But that doesn't mean we don't have money that belongs to you. Maybe there's a last paycheck you never cashed. Maybe there's a rebate or a refund owed to you. Maybe someone named you as a beneficiary of a life insurance policy and you never claimed it. You can go to illinoistreasurer.gov and click on iCash or unclaimed property to see if we have money here in the state of Illinois. But if you have lived in other states, we have helped create through NAST a website that consolidates almost every state's unclaimed property. It's called missingmoney.gov. You go to missingmoney.gov, put your name in there, and if you lived in multiple states, it will see if other state treasurers have money that belongs to you.
Wow. Okay. So can you one more time for that website? I think it was easy. Missingmoney.gov.
So you can go to Illinois directly. If you've spent all your life in Illinois, go to icash.illinoistreasurer.gov.
Okay.
If you lived in multiple states, you can go to missingmoney.gov. This is something that the National Association of State Treasurers put together since I've come into office. I had two people say, like, well, I've lived in multiple states. I don't know where to search those states. We said, let's make it easier for people.
Yeah.
Why don't we all work together? And what I found is when we work together, we can accomplish a lot more than working by ourselves.
Totally. Mr. Frericks, we are out of time, but I really appreciate you taking the time and, getting us all more informed as you do every single month. I really appreciate it.
Tim, thank you very much for the time. Thanks for the chance to talk to your listeners.
Yeah, without a doubt. That was Illinois State Treasurer and the elected president of the National Association of State Treasurers, Mike Frericks, on the line with me today. My name's Tim Zalabak. You're listening to the WTIM Morning Show.
Now, Big 870 WTIM Assumption Taylorville, 96.1 W241 CF Taylorville, 107.5 W298 CD Shelbyville, 107.